Hello again, class. This is Demetrius Wilson with Organizational Behavior. We are now on chapter 14 of 15. We are almost to the end. Organizational structure and change is the topic that we'll be reviewing today. The learning objectives for this chapter are: define organizational structure, identify the basic elements of structure, explain the difference between mechanistic and organic structures, and describe factors shaping an organization's structure. Describe matrix, boundary lists, and learning organizations, and understand how structure affects ethics, and understand cross-cultural influences on structure and change. Building blocks of structure. You see in the middle we have our organizational structure. On the outside we have centralization, formalization, hierarchical levels, and departmentalization, all of which we will discuss. Centralization is a degree to which decision-making authority is concentrated at higher levels in an organization. Is one person the only decision maker? Decentralized companies give more authority to lower-level employees, resulting in a sense of empowerment. The case you guys can look up is the Caterpillar. Once decision-making became more decentralized, the Caterpillar was better equipped to compete at the global level. So establishing balance, and all companies and individuals must have balance. Centralized can lead to inefficiencies in decision making in an uncertain or highly competitive market. So if only one person's making decisions, if they're on vacation, then it may be a holdup in a competitive market. You have to make decisions quickly. In a stable environment can lead to more efficient operations because this person really knows the business. They're always, more than likely, they're going to make the right decision. Decentralized organizations, decisions can be made more quickly and can provide greater levels of procedural fairness to employees. Empower your employees, get it down to the manager level, let them make decisions. Formalization is the extent to which an organization's policies, procedures, job descriptions, and rules are written and explicitly articulated. Written rules plus explicit regulations equal formalization. Right? Do you have written rules that say how many times you can be late or how many times you can call in sick? Right? Formalized organization. The hierarchical levels: if you have a tall organization, you have several layers of management between frontline employees and the top level. It doesn't just have a president and frontline employees report to him. Fewer employees report to each manager, and greater opportunities for managers to supervise and monitor employee activities. Typically, they say that span of control in a fairly large company is going to be 10. Like, managers should not manage over 10 individuals. In the flat organization, they have few management layers, large number of employees reporting to each manager, and can lead to greater levels of freedom for each employee. I am currently in an organization that has a tall structure. I came from an organization that had a flat structure and actually had 40 people reporting to me. Advantages of flat organizations. You see an example on the left, that's IKEA. Companies such as IKEA, the Swedish furniture manufacturer and retailer, are successfully using flat structures within stores to build an employee attitude of job involvement and ownership, which seems to be working for them. Departmentalization. Organizations using functional structures, group jobs based on similarity in functions: marketing department, management, finance department, accounting department, human resource department, information technology department. In organizations using divisional structures, departments represent the unique products, services, customers, or geographic locations the company is serving. Each unique product or service the company is producing will have its own department. Contemporary forms of organizational structures: you can have your matrix organizations, balance a traditional functional structure with a product structure. Boundaryless organizations eliminate traditional barriers between departments and the external environment. And learning organizations actively seek to acquire knowledge and change behavior as a result of the newly acquired knowledge. Nike successfully utilizes the matrix organization, and the advantages of the matrix are structures are created in response to uncertainty and dynamism of the environment, may increase communication and cooperation among departments, It increases the frequency of informal and formal communication within the organization and provides quick responses to technical problems and customer demands. So they're very fluid. They can move pretty fast and cover things in a competitive environment. In a matrix structure, each person reports to a department manager as well as a project or product manager. So when you look through your PowerPoint, please take a couple minutes just to make sure that you understand that you have a business analyst who reports to the business analyst manager and also reports to the product one manager. Back to our organizational behavior toolbox, toolbox number 14, or one big toolbox with 14 chapters in it, managed by a crowd. So do not assume that having multiple bosses is a bad thing, and don't be afraid to meet with all of your managers and with their managers if necessary. Make sure all of your managers are familiar with your workload. Make an effort to establish an effective relationship with each manager. Be cognizant of the relationships among those managers as well. Make conflicts known to managers. And you need to understand the styles of each manager and vary your style with each. The disadvantages of the matrix organization is that 2 managers per individual can result in power struggles. I need him for this. No, I need him for this. Tugging at your arms. More effort is required to coordinate workflow. Potential for interpersonal conflict with team members as well as with leaders, and it can create role ambiguity and role conflict. How do I prioritize what I'm supposed to be doing? Boundaryless organizations, a modular organization where all non-essential functions are outsourced, such as Toyota manages relationships with hundreds of suppliers, right? We don't need to do these functions here. We can outsource these functions, have those parts shipped into us, and go on about our business. Strategic alliances, 2 or more companies combine their efforts to create a partnership that is beneficial for both parties. Starbucks achieved distribution success of Frappuccino by partnering with Pepsi. It just made sense for them. Learning organizations, you see how it flows. Experimenting flows into learning new things, and that flows into reflecting on new knowledge and implementing that new knowledge into your course of business. Discussion questions, as always, read through those, get good answers, get good feedback, and give good answers as well. Forms of organizational change, you have company structure, strategy, policies, procedures, technology, and culture, all of which can change on a whim with the company. Company structure could be that we're now going to eliminate directors and we're only going to have CEO, vice president, and managers. Our strategy, let's say we're no longer going to build microwaves. It's not profitable. We're going to go into ovens. Policies, we have a new policy. You can only be late 2 times before you get written up. Procedures, we're going to eliminate these steps in our procedure, make things more simplified so that we can be on and off the phones a lot quicker. Technology change, hey, we're moving to all Macs instead of PCs. And culture, we're moving from a ho-hum, boring environment to let's make everything fun and exciting and give high fives all day environment. Growth drives change, and you see there, don't get too excited. The guys putting those kegs in the back of that truck. Started in a garage. Widmer Brothers Brewing Company merged with Red Hook Ale Brewing in 2007 to form the 11th largest brewery in the United States by 2008. Right, all just in the garage, fiddling with the wheat and barley, and now look where they're at. And growth definitely drives change, and I was in an organization that they changed so quickly. They were a small family company and they changed and became like big corporate level company, but they didn't have their human resources in place, so they had to change that, and no longer could they get away with the things that they used to do. They had to implement a normal structured corporate human resources environment. Resistance to change takes many forms. You can have active resistance, passive resistance, compliance, and enthusiastic support. I prefer enthusiastic support, but in reality, I typically don't get enthusiastic support. Sometimes I get compliance, and most of the time I get active resistance and passive resistance, right? So the part of management is that you have to know how to work through those. If I always had enthusiastic support, hey, it would be a cakewalk. I wouldn't have much to do. Resistance prohibited, the faster Dvorak keyboard from becoming the norm. So it has it in your book. Be sure to read this. This keyboard is supposed to be a lot better than what they call the QWERTY. And I say QWERTY because if you look at your keyboard, it says QWERTY, right? They say this one's way better. But because people didn't want to change, typing instructors didn't want to change the format, learn something new. They didn't want to throw out all the keyboards and everything. They said, nope, not going to happen, right? This could be, revolutionary. It could change how quickly you type and everything, but nobody's going to do it. Why people resist change? Well, disrupted habits, their personality, they just don't like change. I have people that work for me. I tell them we're going to change this. It could benefit them. They still don't want to change it. Feelings of uncertainty, fear of failure. That's a big one, probably the biggest one. Personal impact of change, prevalence of change, and perceived loss of power. That's a big one as well. Oh, you took away my power. I used to be the only one who knew how to do this. Now you're showing everybody how to do this, and now I don't have any more power. But I'm making everybody more powerful and moving in the direction that the company wants to move. So fear of failure. Hopefully that's not you at the office or at the company, but fear of failure is a common reason employees resist change. Back to our organizational behavior toolbox, life after being downsized. Have any of you ever been downsized? Hopefully not. I have. Was it a fun experience? No. Did things turn out great? Actually, they turned out better than I could have ever expected. So, in such situations, be calm. Do not get angry. Know your rights. Think about your ideal job situation. Get help. Polish your resume and job hunting skills, and do not give up. Got to be calm. And if you're off for a while, you have to treat looking for a job, right, like it's a job. I tell people all the time to get up at 8 o'clock and you work until 5 o'clock looking for jobs. If you do that, you will definitely find a job. So life after being downsized, it's all about how you handle it. Lewin's 3-step model for planned change. Ensure that employees are ready for change. So that's the unfreeze, right? Unfreeze all those things that you're used to. Then we want to change. We want to execute the intended change. So you unfreeze them, loosen them up, change them, right? And then you flow over to refreeze. Ensure that the change becomes permanent. So we unfreeze you, we change you, refreeze you back. Please keep doing the right thing. What can organizations do before change occurs to prepare employees? Well, they can communicate a plan for change. They can develop a sense of urgency. That's a big part. I see today that a sense of urgency is very lacking in the work environment. Build a coalition, provide support, and allow employees to participate. Executing and facilitating change, continue to provide support even when the change has already been implemented. Create small wins, right? You want to pick that low-hanging fruit. Hey, have a party. We transitioned this successfully. We won. Great job. High five. And eliminate obstacles. It's all about eliminating the obstacles for your employees. Refreezing and making change is a part of the culture. Publicize success. I just had some success on Friday with my team. They did a great job, and I told them on the meeting, aren't you proud of yourself? Look how good you did. No, it wasn't me. It was you. Share concrete results with those employees, and I certainly did, and hopefully they enjoyed it. Reward change adoption. Publicly recognize those who are giving support to the change effort. And in a meeting that I'm going to have in this upcoming week, I am going to meet with some individuals, and I'm going to tell them that these people on this side are doing a great job at something that we're focusing on. And the rest of you need to learn from these other individuals. So I'm going to reward them, and I'm going to recognize them, and I'm going to say everybody else really needs to follow suit. More discussion questions, please review them. They're always great. They did a really good job in this textbook of dealing with implementing great discussion questions that stimulate good thought. Back to your organizational behavior toolbox, overcome resistance to your proposals. This is a great slide. Listen to naysayers. Listen to those people with that negative feedback. It will help you. I used to think like, hey, this person's so negative, I want to kick them out of the group. Then I realized, you know what? This individual is negative. I want to keep them in the group because they're going to try and punch holes in everything that I do, and they're going to have my product looking so good by the time that I get out of dealing with them that everybody's going to love it. Is your change revolutionary? Hey, if you're changing the game and things are going to look good and it's going to add to profit for the company, then they're going to be behind you. Involve those around you in planning the change. At one point in my career, they said, Demetrius, you're doing a good job with this side of the organization. We want you to run this side of the organization as well. And I knew they were doing things wrong, so I decided to go in there and say, you know what? We're changing these things. Get used to it. And I was a little younger at the time, but that was not the way to do it, right? I needed to involve those around me in planning the change. And even though I was going to change it, I should still get their input. Do you have credibility? Hopefully you do. Hopefully you're a subject matter expert in things that you do, and you do have credibility in your field. You want to present data to your audience, right? You can't just say, oh, I have a feeling. You want to present data, hard facts, numbers, graphs, things of that nature. It makes a big difference. I've been in work organizations where people have been asking for things to get done for years and years and years. And then I come in, put it into written word on pieces of paper in a presentation or a proposal, and then it gets done. And the response back to me was like, oh, they just like you a lot. No, that wasn't it. It was I was showing how dollar bills will get saved or made by implementing my change. Appeal to your audience ideals, right? Appeal to their ideals. What you want to punch some holes in my argument? What if we try and do it this way? And then understand the reasons for resistance. Do they truly have a reason? Is it legitimate, or do they just want to wake up on the wrong side of the bed? And they just want to mess with you. And a lot of times that is the case. So you need to be able to understand and determine which one it truly is. Last but not least, our great discussion questions at the end of chapter 14, and these are good ones, so pay special close attention to these. What is an ethical way of conducting layoffs? I've done it before. It's not an easy thing to do, but think about some of these questions. Hopefully that's never something that you have to run into, but in the work environment it does happen, it does occur. As always, have a good day, a great week. This is the end of chapter 14. Soon we will be in chapter 15, and you will be out of this semester.